What's up, guys? It's Benny. Today has been a very dark start to 2025 and a bloody one at that. 15 Americans are dead after an ISIS terrorist rammed into them with a rented electric Ford truck with an ISIS flag hanging off the back. We should mourn those Americans, and we should start asking some severe questions like who was responsible and why didn't we stop this terrorist before they were able to kill Americans. Ladies and gentlemen, this should be some of the major questions of our federal law enforcement, like the FBI, who have spent the better part of the last 4 years hunting down innocent MAGA grandmothers who waved American flags during January 6th, and putting their agents inside of Catholic masses in order to try and attack Christians and locking up grandmothers praying outside of abortion clinics. The FBI is a sick and rotted to the core organization, but their initial instinct after this attack, with dead Americans still laying in the street, is to lie to the American people. And it is totally and completely unforgivable. It's also unsustainable. And I'm going to detail for you some of the dark and very strange lies that the FBI told in the aftermath of the terrorist attack in New Orleans, ladies and gentlemen. Never forget that the terrorists slaughtered 15 Americans, and the FBI's initial immediate instinct was to lie about every single detail. Nothing they said was true. They did this to protect a dead ISIS terrorist's feelings. They did nothing to protect Americans. This is going viral right now, and for good reason. This is what we know so far, ladies and gentlemen. A ISIS terrorist named Shamoud Din Jabbar killed 15 people when a rented electric vehicle that had just recently entered the country from Mexico, rented on a vehicle rental system called Turo, mowed down people, revelers in New Year's Eve in Bourbon Street in New Orleans. 42-year-old man from Houston, Texas. He is an American citizen. He did work for the Defense Department. He was in the Army and worked at Deloitte, a defense contractor. So I think there are going to have to be some really tough questions about who knew what about this guy. Anyway, he had an ISIS flag on the back of his vehicle. Yet, even though the FBI called this an act of terrorism in their statement of release, the same time this statement was going out early this morning at 10 a.m., saying this was a terrorist attack, the FBI special agent in charge, okay, so this is literally the top FBI position inside of the New Orleans region, was saying it's not a terrorist attack, even though they had discovered IEDs and explosives on site, even though they had a literal ISIS flag on the back of the vehicle. That's an ISIS flag right there. That's an ISIS flag. These are IEDs. These are explosives. And the entire vehicle is packed with tactical gear and firearms. The vehicle's obviously been used as a weapon. This is the actual terrorist. Yet the initial commentary from the FBI was, this is not a terrorist attack. Listen to this.
Said we'll be taking over the investigative lead for this event. This is not a terrorist event. What it is right now is their improvised explosive devices that was found, and we are working on confirming if this is a viable device or not. As Chief Kirkpatrick said, we're asking everyone to stay away from Bourbon Street, specifically from Canal Street to St. Anne. That is my ask. Once again, stay away from Bourbon Street, Canal Street, all the way to St. Anne until we can figure out what is going on.
This is the special agent in charge of the FBI. You might note that she has a nose ring. Okay, nothing has nose rings. I have employees who have nose rings, but those employees are creatives, artists, and videographers. They're not FBI agents in charge of millions and millions of people. It was like blatantly disrespectful and unprofessional. I'm sorry, I'll just say it. If you're in law enforcement, this is not the look that you should have. Is that having like a nose ring, like you're what, a roadie? Like what? Like what? You're like somebody who's going to church Coachella? it's just like on prima facie unprofessional. But then let's go to the fact that this individual clearly can barely speak coherent English sentences. Said pacifically instead of specifically. And then they said that this isn't a terrorist attack. It's just an investigation into IEDs. Ladies and gentlemen, this attack happened on New Year's Eve. So this press conference is happening the morning after. They already knew that this was the individual because he was dead in the street. He's dead in the street right here. They knew that the truck had an ISIS flag on it. This is an ISIS flag, ladies and gentlemen. That's what this is. They were aware of all of this, but they didn't tell the American people. Why? You need to ask the question, why? Now, I'm going to make a just wild guess here because I don't know this individual and I don't know the FBI field office there. But I'm going to make a wild guess that the reason why they didn't tell the American people this is an act of terrorism via ISIS, by an ISIS terrorist homegrown in this country, they used a vehicle that just came from Mexico, is because they're trying to protect the dead terrorists' feelings, because they're trying to protect ISIS, because they're doing their level-headed best to protect the dead terrorist and not the American people. It's not politically correct to say that. It's not politically correct to say that the terrorist did a terrorist thing. The lies just continued throughout the day. Why did they? Who rolled up the flag exactly? Somebody explain that. Who rolled up the ISIS flag? The FBI is now completely admitted, and this is crazy, man. This is the actual suspect. He's like doing a Deloitte, like working for a defense contractor. So you gotta start asking some really tough questions about our defense contractors and our CIA, our intel agencies, and homegrown terrorism. Still don't know anything about the Trump shooter. No, nothing. Literally nothing about Matthew Crooks. Nothing about him. He just was able to take 8 shots at President Trump, hit President Trump in the head, and we don't know anything about the guy. Nothing. Just classic homegrown terrorism. Really interesting. Who's radicalizing these people? Why do they all seem to have connections with military bases or gun ranges that our intel agencies operate and use? Look at this. Here's the ISIS flag rolled up. Who rolled up the flag exactly? Who got rid of the evidence before people could take photos of this? Who rolled up that flag? Who's making that decision, ladies and gentlemen? Again, the perpetrator and the suspect is dead, but now they're saying that he didn't act alone. And there were other people that were maybe in the cab doing this act of terrorism. It was actually the mayor of New Orleans, somebody named LaToya Cantrell, who first said this was a terrorist attack. The White House and the FBI and federal law enforcement refused to describe it as a terrorist attack. Now they've changed their tune.
I believe that Jabbar was solely responsible. We are aggressively running down every lead, including those of his known associates. That's why we need the public's help. We are asking if anybody has any interactions with Samsud Dim Jabbar in the last 72 hours that you contact us. The FBI is asking the public's help. We're asking anyone who has information, video, or pictures to provide it to the FBI. We have set up a digital tip line as well as our 1-800 number, 1-800-CALL-FBI. Please provide us with any information that can assist us in this investigation. Once again, thank you for your patience and assistance. For an updated statements or information, please check the FBI's website and our social media accounts. I will now turn over to Mayor.
So here, I'll give you some information. How about this? Well, looks like, look who donated to Democrats on Act Blue and then drove a truck through the crowd in New Orleans with an ISIS flag. Ladies and gentlemen, this is somebody by the exact same name, living in the exact same place, worked for the Army, which we know that the suspect did, from Texas, right? And these dates seem to match up. Just like Donald Trump's assassin, Matthew Crooks, donated to Act Blue. What is it? Are they recruiting Democrat donors? Is that what this is? The Democrat donor to ISIS pipeline remains very strong. Look at again, same name, in the Army, then living in Texas, donating to Act Blue. You gotta effectively say, well, ladies and gentlemen. This is the photo that has been officially released of the actual attacker. Wow. Well, you know what? It just makes you wonder. It really makes you wonder what they were protecting. When they refused to call it an act of terrorism, they called it an investigation into an IED. Well, what is that exactly? It is critical that the Senate move to confirm Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard, and Pete Hegseth, and all other national security-related appointees under Trump's cabinet. The terrorist attack in New Orleans underscores the urgency. There's absolutely no time for political games or delays. That is exactly right. The terrorist had a freaking a freaking ISIS flag on the back of the truck. What did the FBI say in the first press conference hours later? This is not a terrorist event. Kash Patel needs to fire these people. Yeah, this individual is getting a lot of heat. I expect Kash Patel to deliver the greatest apprentice style. You're fired. This incompetent chick very, very soon. Day one, Kash Patel, fire her. This is not a terrorist event. What an insult. Now they're saying that he didn't act alone. And then when asked, well, how do you know that? The governor of Louisiana says, well, like, why would I tell you that? We're hunting some bad people down. Okay, well, all right. But don't we deserve to know the truth? Why do you keep lying to us? Why is there constantly lies, ladies and gentlemen? Here we go, ladies. Here's the latest from the FBI on this attack. They sure have changed their tune since not calling it a terrorist attack. FBI investigates terrorist attack in French Quarter. Now they're saying that the subject, after hitting the crowd, the subject exited the vehicle, fired upon local law enforcement. Local law enforcement returned fire. The subject was pronounced dead at the scene. 2 law enforcement officers were injured and in local hospital. God bless them. An ISIS flag was located on the vehicle. The FBI is working to determine if the subject's potential affiliations with a terrorist organization. Weapons and potential IEDs were located in the subject's vehicles. Other potential IEDs were located in the French Quarter. So, wait a second. So, this was obviously a coordinated and planned attack. So, they had other IEDs located in the French Quarter, and the FBI refused to call this a terrorist attack. They had a bunch of bombs placed everywhere. FBI special agent bomb technicians are working with law enforcement and parsers to determine if these devices were viable and will work to render them safe. The FBI is lead investigative agency here. Oh, good. Yeah, not a lot of built-out confidence, ladies and gentlemen. This is just a absolute cluster for all of those involved. Who is Shamoud Din Jamar, the man behind the New Orleans attack? You can see here the aftermath. The twisted driver who massacred pedestrians on New Year's Eve died in a shootout with police. The electric vehicle driving terrorist, the FBI believes, did not work alone in the horrifying attack. Grew up in Texas, served in the United States Army. Jabbar worked for a white-collar Deloitte as a business developer and data engineer. The Deloitte is, of course, a massive federal contractor. After working in real estate, he had a bachelor's degree from Georgia State University, worked for the U.S. Army. The suspect's love life was scattered, having been married twice. His first marriage ended in 2012. Second wife, new husband, said Jabbar had begun to convert to Islam within the last year and was being all crazy. Okay. When does the FBI tell us that he was on our list, right? We were watching him. Marshad Jabbar had 2 daughters, 1 teenager, 1 adult, and they were a mess after the attack. A YouTube video from 2020, Jabbar spoke about his professional life in real estate and said he was born and raised in Beaumont, Texas. Jabbar worked as a human resources specialist in information technology for decade-long tenure at the armed forces. So he's in the armed forces for a decade. A terrorist who was shot dead in bloody scene in New Year's Day also had a criminal history, being charged with a misdemeanor theft, driving without a valid license. Relatively small criminal charges, but nonetheless. The motive has not been revealed. Oh yes, I wonder. The motive isn't revealed. The electric vehicle was rented through the Turo app, a car-sharing company registered to a Houston man. Police recovered a handgun, AR-style rifle, bombs from the bloody scene. The truck came through Eagle Pass, Texas, over a month ago, according to Fox News, which initially reported the truck crossed the border 2 days ago. The FBI confirmed that he had an ISIS flag on his truck. So we just will never know. I guess we'll never know what happened. Just like the bomb that was here at the Trump Tower, right, with the explosion here at the Cybertruck. I guess we'll never know. We'll never know what the true motive was. I'm so sick of being lied to, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sick of it. Kash Patel does need to fire these people. We do need Kash Patel immediately. There's legitimately just not enough time. There's not enough time. This is, of course, I guess we'll close with this. This is her saying this is not a terrorist attack, and then there it is, the actual flag unfurled, the actual ISIS flag unfurled, and members of the FBI taking photos of the ISIS flag. Yeah, it's not a terrorist attack. Why would you lie to us? That's the question. Why do we pay you to lie to us? Also, why weren't the security barriers up? They have these iron barriers there. Was this an inside job? You have to ask these questions in order to get to the truth. Why weren't the security barriers up to protect the people that were obviously going to be there reveling? There's a big bowl game, the Sugar Bowl, is in New Orleans, where the hell was the security? It is very important to ask these questions to prevent the further loss of and carnage of American lives. But while Americans are laying dead in the street, the FBI is sitting here like protecting and covering up for ISIS. Freaking crazy. While they're still to this very day hunting down J6ers who just peacefully protested at the Capitol. While this is happening. Oh, sick. Donald Trump, 19 days, ladies and gentlemen. Keep asking questions. The dark truth about what happened in New Orleans. We want to get to the bottom of it. Stay tuned to this channel. Like, share, and subscribe. It's your boy Benny. See ya.